So our stories have kept us alive. They've essentially helped to have, you know, ceremonies that still exist from 10,000 years ago, you know, still practicing those ways. People think that we've lost a lot of things. Yes, we have, during some really dark times in this country, that we're still coming to, you know, a place of reconciling, as the word is used so much. But I would say that repatriation of certain ways of being, I believe that, you know, those things weren't lost. Some things were put aside, but I think that, you know, when we look at our ways, it's within our blood memory. I didn't grow up on the land. My mother did. She chopped wood and hauled water. There was no electricity. She speaks Cree fluently. And so as a woman that's now middle-aged, as people would say, at 50, you know, and living in an area where it's very, you know, in nature, I would say that, you know, connecting with Mother Earth and water, air, land, fire, the elements, those things are so important, especially in this time that we live in. And you don't have to be just Indigenous to connect with that. At the core of Indigenous storytelling is a lot of our natural laws. So based upon our Indigenous worldview, which is humility, respect, courage, love, kindness, all the things that, again, you know, when you're living that way, it's essentially, it's a walk, it's a lifestyle. You know how people would say, you know, I'm going on this diet, it's a lifestyle change. Well, walking in the Indigenous ways of knowing is a lifestyle. It's a complete lifestyle, and learning, even in our words, there's medicine. So when you're speaking to somebody, and you're speaking with kindness, with humility, with grace, you know, it's something that you learn over the years of sitting with elders and not interrupting when they're speaking, and knowing that that's also a sign of respect, right? So when someone comes to a complete stop, then it's your turn to speak, right? So there's certain things that you learn along the way as a storyteller, that you can only do that by sitting with our older people, with our knowledge keepers, and our elders. It's an energy exchange when you're receiving a story, and you're listening, and intently listening, because of course there's different ways of listening. So I learned earlier on in broadcasting, as a former reporter, I would go out with a set of questions, and sometimes those questions I'd be so uber focused on that I would lose, you know, like I was thinking, what's going to be the next question, like while this person's speaking, and I'm missing everything because I'm in my head about what the actual interview is about, right? So sometimes that listening, that's the other thing I've learned, is that being truly in the moment. And people like gurus like Eckhart Tolle talks about that, being in the moment. Oprah Winfrey is a very good woman that has done the art of the interview and making you feel like you're literally sitting in her living room, right? So that's that type of listening and being able to interact with the person is super important. And I believe that with journalists that are telling these stories, that to understand the pacing of things and the tempo, and if you don't know something, as they say, there's no dumb questions. It always comes back to wanting to learn, and being respectful and not interrupting is a huge one. So I was at a meeting just recently, and you know, lady was speaking, and there's some people that are long-winded, and I can be sometimes, but she had said, "Oh, you haven't said much," and I just told her, "Well, you just finished speaking, so I didn't want to interrupt," and that's a part of our ways of being. So I know that sometimes, reporters can be on a time limit, right? But it's really important that that respect is shown.